Hi everyone, I'm Terry.
And I'm Angel.
And today we are coming to you with my 90-day high raw journey. So my baby's going to be interviewing me with some tough questions.
That's right.
I'm really nervous.
Yeah, can you tell? Oh my gosh.
No, I'm just joking, but I'm looking forward to sharing with everyone my journey, my 90-day high raw journey, and some of the things I've experienced, which may be a lot of the questions you may be asking yourself and things you may have experienced yourself. So I'm excited to share, honey.
I'm excited for you to share as well. So people said that they wanted to hear Terry's journey. So when we did the 60-day raw with me, now we're on to 90 days, which is awesome. So let's see how Terry's doing. All right, honey. So why did you decide to go high raw?
So I initially decided to go high raw to support Angel. Angel came to me and said, you know, I'm thinking about going raw, and for, you know, obviously health reasons, and just taking what we've done over the last 2.5, 3 years to a whole nother level in terms of healthy eating and just healthy living. And so I initially did it to support her, and I said, okay, babe, I'll eat a few meals. Oh, thanks, honey. I said, I'll eat a few meals here and there to support you in terms of going raw. So what that evolved into is me actually only eating really one cooked meal a day. And that's basically lunch, or I may have you may have heard this in some of our other shows. Sometimes I'll like the fresh cut potatoes cut into French fries later at night as like a little snack. But I haven't even been doing that a lot lately. So really I eat one meal, which is lunch, that is a warm meal. Outside of that, I'll have my green smoothie in the morning. Angel's been making me a lot of beet juice to help with my high blood pressure and just overall health. And that really keeps me, you know, throughout the day before I even have to eat lunch. And, you know, I'm going into work, you know, 3 days a week, 2 or 3 days a week. So when I'm at work, I'll grab a salad, or I have a couple places that I go to, and they know me, they know my eating habits, and they know that I'm, you know, vegan, and I eat raw and whole food plant-based. So I have one place that I go to, they'll make me a warm, what I call a veggie bowl. And it's usually brown rice. It has a lot of peppers, mushrooms. They'll have corn and also beans and spices. I always tell them no oil, you know, nothing on the grill oil. So they are always very accommodating to help me that way. Then I have another place that I go to, and I usually get a salad, but they have so many different varieties of salads that like they'll have them with warm squash or quinoa and things of that nature. So it's a really nice, healthy salad, and it fills me. It keeps me full until I have to come home. So again, that's typically what I'll eat. It's just one meal a day that's warm. So so again, it evolved into me supporting Angel. And I can even remember when Angel said that she was going to go raw. She said, look, even in our cooked, even with our raw meal for dinner, I'll make you a side of rice, or I'll make you a side of pasta, whatever you want, just to kind of keep you full. And I didn't need it, because the food, first of all, was so delicious. Second of all, as you guys know,
it is delicious.
Second of all, it was just such a different variety of different types of food that it was just, I didn't need to have a side of rice or a side of pasta or anything like that, just because I was so fulfilled with what I was eating. And just the different, oh my God, chili and tacos and, you know, sushi, and just so many different things that are raw. And another thing I had to try to get my head around when Angel said we were going to go raw was, so I'm thinking raw vegetables, you know, all the things that you eat raw. I'm thinking, how are we going to get the flavor? How are we going to get the taste? How are we going to get, you know, something that's going to taste good and also be fulfilling? And I gotta hand it to Angel. I mean, she was able to find a way to, with different spices and different things, and she's just so creative in some of the things that she makes, that so I've been blessed So,
Aw.
I mean, many of you may not have an Angel, but I've been
Aw.
blessed because she's able to just be so creative with the different meals and so on and so forth. But the good thing is that we share that with you, and you can make those meals as well. So,
Okay.
does that answer the question?
Yeah, and answered some of my other questions. See what he's doing. When you have your warm veggie bowl at lunch, you also have rice in it. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Maybe he said that. I don't know. It sounded like he just had warm veggies, but I know he has some grain in it too. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go down here. Can you describe any changes you experienced in the first 30, 60, and now 90 days, such as any challenges it is to be high raw? Do you desire to go back to all cooked food? Is this a temporary thing for you, or are you taking it day by day? Really, what is it? I mean, did you jump in with just one meal a day of being cooked, or how have you progressed?
Okay, there's a lot there, so I'm going to have you keep me honest.
I will, honey. I will. I promise.
So, changes. So, one of the reasons why I decided to kind of go high raw as opposed to, honey, I'll have raw meals here and there, is because I saw the positive changes and effect that it had on Angel. The key thing, just jumping out of the bed in the morning, and I'm laying there trying to get myself together. And again, I'm whole food, plant-based, no added salt, oil, or sugar, but I still had that brain fog in the morning, and still took a few minutes to wake up. And I didn't see that when Angel went raw. And as I've gone even high raw, I don't see that either. Easier to go to sleep, just lights out.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sleeping better. I'm sleeping, all throughout the night. I don't have that brain fog in the morning. So those are some great benefits.
Awesome.
In terms of challenges, I haven't really seen any challenges. I did decide to go in. I decided to take it up a notch. Like I just said, instead of just eating a few meals here and there, I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to have, because I still like to have my, something that is warm, whether it's rice. I stopped eating pasta. I stopped eating bread. So I don't eat pasta and I don't eat bread. And that was just by personal choice and some of the things that I learned from Angel when we went raw. With some of the things that are contained in bread and in pasta, and wheat and things of that nature. So not that's that's a personal choice that I decided just to cut those things out. I'm very disciplined, so it wasn't hard for me to jump in. I really didn't have a lot of challenges. I didn't even have a lot of cravings for those things that I would like to eat. It wasn't hard coming off of, and again, I'm coming from whole food, plant-based, not a lot of, no processed food and no added salt, oil, or sugar. So it's a little easier to make that jump. For others, it might not be as easy because maybe you're not coming off of a whole food, plant-based diet. And maybe you are still eating, some of that salt, oil, and sugar and things of that nature, which, let's face it, it's addicting. The sugar is addicting, and some of those other things you eat is very hard to kind of come off. So it was a little easier for me to do that. And again, most importantly, it was for my health. I mean, when you're doing things, having high blood pressure, being on cholesterol medication, and just really fighting for your life, fighting to live longer. It was easy for me because I'm thinking the healthier I am, the healthier I eat, the longer I can live to be with my family and to be with my beautiful wife and those who I love. So you have to put that into perspective.
That's very
And I'm not saying it's easy for some people. It can be very hard. But for me, when I put it into that context, it was very easy for me. Very easy.
Yeah, that's very impactful.
And did I miss anything?
So what did you experience, anything negative in the 30, 60, 90 days? Like what makes you keep wanting to do it? Are you going to keep doing it?
I'm definitely going to keep doing it because I see the added health benefits. So for example, some of the added health benefits, one of the things is when we work out 6 days a week, a lot of times our schedules are a little different, and I may be working out on a different schedule, especially during the week, but I sweat profusely when I work out.
It's crazy.
I turn the air condition down at night, or I turn the heat down at night, just to make sure that when I go into now we have our home gym that we work out in. We used to go to a fitness center, in the public fitness center. We just post COVID, we were like, no, we're going to dial it in and just work out at home, and we have everything we need to work out at home. But going into a public, fitness center and working out, I would sweat like crazy, and it did not smell. It did not smell good. It did not smell good. And sometimes we would even work out, and babe, you might not even know this. We would work out, and she said, "Okay, let's go to the store." And I'm thinking, we just worked out, and we're gonna run to the store on the way home, and I'm sweaty and stinky and smelly, and it was really embarrassing for me.
Aww.
But now, I don't even know how to explain it, but I still sweat as much as I used to sweat before, just as profusely, and no smell.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No smell.
Honestly, I can't believe it. I even have said to Terry on a few occasions, isn't that odd that you don't have that anymore from sweat? And then you have to wonder what was coming through the pores from a standard American diet. So we're going back like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And, but even, do you want to talk about even, he stopped with that, but even moving to a high raw has even...
It's even been that much of a difference. So you're right, going from a standard American diet to whole food plant-based, when I used to sweat profusely, I didn't smell, hardly at all, and now it's just completely
Nothing.
gone. We were on
wet. Like I squirted you with water.
Exactly. It's unbelievable. It's
crazy.
absolutely unbelievable. We were talking with some friends of ours, Jill and Jeffrey Dalton. You may know them from the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, and Jill Dalton calls it the meat sweats, and it was funny. But she's right. It's like the meat sweats, all that stuff coming out of your pores and stuff like that. So I don't sweat. That's been great. One of the other changes, I don't smell. Right, I don't smell. One of the other changes is that I'm just as strong, if not stronger, than I was before going high raw. So I'm 100, and right now I'm like 170, 172 pounds. Before I went,
I was going to ask you a weight loss question. Don't. Go ahead, honey.
Before I was about 175, 173. I would fluctuate between that weight.
Before what?
Before I went raw. So before I went high raw, I should say. So whole food plant-based, 175. High raw, 170, 172. Okay, so that 3 pounds of weight loss. But more importantly, the weight loss that I've had has been, right around my midsection. Not that I lost 3 pounds around my midsection, because I didn't have a large midsection to begin with, but I did have some fat that developed around my midsection, and now that is all but gone. And again, more importantly, I'm lifting just as much weight, if not more, at a lighter weight today than I was when I was whole food plant-based, which means, in essence, I'm stronger. So let me give you an example. So I used to bench press and work out. Again, not maxing out, but working out 185 to 205 at 175. I'm now doing that same workout at 170, 172 and more reps. Dumbbell curls. I'm curling, 40, 45, 50 pounds. I can still do that at a lower weight.
I'm doing 10.
So, and as far as my cardio, my cardio is right where it was, if not better. I can tell you my recovery too. My recovery, being on a high raw diet, is much better than it was when I was on a whole food plant-based. Now, when I was on the standard American diet and I went to the whole food plant-based diet, I thought the recovery was just incredible, going from the standard American diet to a whole food plant-based diet. And what I mean by that is, running for 40 minutes and then going from running from 40 minutes to lifting for another 40 minutes to an hour, or jogging for 30 or 40 minutes, and then getting on an elliptical for 30 or 40 minutes, and then lifting weights for 30, the recovery between those different workouts. And then the next day, going back and then lifting weights. So I don't have any type of lapse in my recovery. I can go from running to elliptical to biking to lifting weights without little or any rest. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. So my stamina is better. My strength is better. I sweat like crazy, but I don't smell. I mean, those are...
It's amazing. So can I say, honey, for people that aren't as driven around
or physically
working
active
out as you are, not that they're not driven, but just, I'm not, doing that 6 days a week, more like me. So, even going up and down steps or walking around the mall or doing your normal, weekend grocery shopping or whatever it is that you have to do.
Right.
It's not as taxing,
right?
And not to say, the whole food plant-based is amazing. We are huge advocates for whole food plant-based and will be forever.
Absolutely.
But I think what you're stating is you just took it up another notch just by eating some meals raw.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, still being whole food plant-based, but primarily raw. You're right. I just took it up another notch. And again, for those, Angel makes a good point. For those who aren't as avid workout people as we are, if you will. And again, we are training for a marathon right now for a 5K, but eventually for a marathon. You don't have to work out as much as we do, but get a little walking in, getting a little, biking in, and so on and so forth. Always consult with your physician, but you will find that your recovery and that your brain fog and that how sharp your sensories are and how sharp your mind is, you'll just see an added boost and an added benefit to that. And that's what I've seen. And that's one of the reasons why I will stay high raw, because I see the added benefits and I know that it's going to pay long-term dividends down the road as it relates to my health.
Yep. But you still enjoy some warm food.
Absolutely. I have to have some, some warm rice maybe, and some beans and some corn. And again, that's just a personal choice. I am doing it also so I can, maybe keep a little bit more weight on, because I have a tendency to drop and cut a lot of weight. So I want to, put some of those, different starches and things, but healthy, and in moderation, back into my diet. And it helps me also build a little bit of muscle. So.
Great. So I had, what differences have you noticed mentally and physically? So you said that. Are your workouts different? You talked about that. Has your sleep changed? You talked about that. So you helped me out a lot. Have you had any side effects, both positive and negative? And I think you talked about that as well. You've talked about, have you had anything negative?
I haven't had anything negative that I can think of. No, not anything negative. And again, we kind of talked about it with Angel when she did our interview, that one of the commitments you have to make, and this is a commitment to your health, this is a commitment to you, this is a commitment to your family, this is a commitment to long-term sustainable health. It's just putting in the time and putting in the work to, if you have to cut up vegetables, if you have to cut up fruit, as you already know by now, a lot of our recipes are fairly simple. I mean, you just kind of follow the blueprint, right? And it's investing in yourself. It's investing in your health. It's investing in you. It's investing in your family. And I don't see it as a negative. I see it as a commitment. I see it as an added benefit. And I think it will definitely pay dividends down the road. So there hasn't been anything, I can't think of anything negative. And again, people may think having that extra time to meal prep, having that extra time to make meals and so on and so forth, and not taking processed food out of a box and popping it into the oven or popping it into the microwave. But I guarantee you that time that you're saving to make those fresh meals every day for you and your family, instead of, the processed food and that quick, quick meals, is going to pay dividends, because like I said before, it's going to be less time you spend in the doctor's office. There's going to be less time you spend waiting on prescriptions. It's going to be less time you spend, with any type of medical procedures and things of that nature. It will pay huge benefits and dividends. So it is definitely not a negative, and I can't see of anything that's a negative.
It really is, and one point to that, and not so much of a rebuttal, but I have been cooking my whole life, and I will tell you that you don't have to cook anything, so you don't have the oven time.
Right.
You don't have that type of prep, or putting things in this or that. I mean, you're making the food, like Terry said, you're chopping it up and you're eating it. So there's a benefit there too,
right,
where you're not, and now you can use your oven for a storage. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But
what about this? So how about, you're taking that time and you're being creative in the kitchen and you're reading recipes, and how about using that time to be creative, maybe with your loved one, with your family, to come up with creative recipes and meals of your own as a family time, because now it's healthy, now it's, collaborative, and now everyone's engaged, everyone's bought in, and you just use it as something that's very positive. And to your point, honey, you're not waiting for the oven to warm up and you're popping something into the oven and waiting for it to cook. And that was another thing, I should say. That was one of the kind of the mental models that I had to get beyond, because when Angel said we're going to go raw and raw food, I'm thinking raw, cold food, cold food. How am I going to feel about eating raw, cold food? And I have to tell you, it was nothing. You think of the term raw, you think, oh, raw meat, raw this, raw that. Well, of course, we're not eating meat. We're whole food, plant-based. But we think about raw. You kind of have to take that mental picture of what raw is out of your mind and just redimension it, because it's not, trust me, it's not cold, raw food. You can use a dehydrator if you like. Even if you're not using a dehydrator, it's room temperature. If you want to put it in a microwave for 15 or 20 seconds and give it that little warmth, you can do that. Angel made macaroni and cheese the other night with yellow squash. It was unbelievable.
So good.
I put it in the microwave for like 10 seconds to make it just a little warm, but
not me. I ate mine out of the bowl.
Exactly, but it was just room temperature or a little warm, and it was delicious. So really, through Angel's cooking,
honey,
it's kind of helped me get beyond that.
If you put something in the microwave for 10 or 15 seconds, if you use a microwave, it's not taking that food up to 118 degrees. So
right.
As long as he's keeping it below. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you're not taking that meal up to 118 degrees. And I'm not, 10 or 15 seconds. You're just zapping it to give it a little warmth. But yeah.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's awesome, because I do remember when I said I have to do this for my health. I have to try anything to get myself back. And Terry right away said, well, I want to do it too, because I want to support you, and that's just how he is. And he did say, so we're going to eat all of our dinners cold. And I just remember that first day, and I didn't really know anything about how I was going to prepare the food or what I was going to do. I just knew that I was going to do it. And I said, well, we're going to get through it, and we're going to figure this out. And that's why I said, I'm going to make you rice. I'm going to make you pasta. You're going to have warm things with these items, whatever they are that I'm going to make, because it was just a newbie. Well, the first day, and I just jumped right in. So here's what we're doing, or what I'm doing. And so, like you said, you were so satisfied, and he never wanted the rice. I was almost insisting, let me make you potatoes or something, and he just didn't want it. So there is a mental model there of, well, you're going to eat burgers cold, or you're going to eat tacos cold, and it's just different once you start eating it, right? That was a great point. Exactly. So how about your cravings for bread and pasta, which I mean, I should be talking to myself because I have had the, worst cravings my whole life. But what about your cravings for bread and pasta? And, like what lengths did you go to get the kind of bread that you wanted,
Yeah. Yeah. So on a whole food plant-based diet, we had found a bread out of New Jersey. We live in Pennsylvania, from Bread City, and it had no added salt and no added sugar.
No added fat.
No added fat. And we went to great lengths. I mean, we would
It was
actually
delicious.
travel to New Jersey to pick it up. I would actually call the vendor and have them ship it to a store nearby in Pennsylvania. It was very delicious. That was the healthiest bread I was able to find that had zero fat. But it was very, it was very easy for me because I'm doing this for my long-term sustained health. Same thing with the whole grain pasta. We had found a whole grain pasta that, again, it was just wheat. That was it.
Yep.
It was awesome. It was fantastic. But knowing, that, when you eat whatever type of bread, whether it has zero fat and whether type of pasta, it was just, zero fat, it's still going to digest and it's still going to turn into some type of, sugar, within your body. And I decided that I didn't want to do that. That was a personal choice. It wasn't very hard for me, again, based on, like I said before, the underlying health facts and the underlying health conditions that I've had to deal with my entire life, with high blood pressure and also with cholesterol. And just knowing that I feel great. I mean, I feel, I feel a lot younger. I'm 55. I feel like I'm 35.
Well, you look like you're 20 now.
As a lot of you may know by reading our book and listening to some of our stories, I triple jumped in college. So when you triple jump in college, you have a lot of pounding on your joints, specifically your knees. And I can tell you at 55, I'm as spry and as springy as I was when I was in my 30s. Not as when I was in my 20s, but when I was in my 30s, in my health, I just feel great mentally, physically, in terms of my mental clarity and sharpness. It's never been better. So, and again, I know that can be different and that can be hard for people to understand, but I'm a very disciplined person. It may be harder for some people to kind of make that change or make that switch. But again, I would just implore you to just do your research, just, study, read, understand your body, understand the foods that you're putting into your body and the effects that it has on your body.
Long term.
And then immediate and especially long term. And think about, what you can do now so that you can spend more time on this earth with your family and your loved ones. And again, for me, when I put it into that type of perspective and that type of viewpoint, it was just easy for me. I don't know how to say it. I see our little grandson running around, and I want to spend as many years as I can with my grandson, with our grandson. Going to the park and not being tired and not being winded. I want to run around and throw the football with him, and I will. Once he gets older, I'll run around, throw the football with him. We'll play baseball, just like I was when I was in my 30s. So again, I just had to put that into perspective, and hopefully I didn't go off on a tangent, but I just want you to think about that and take what I'm saying and put it into context within your life and what works for you.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful, honey, because it's hard. Food is so addicting, and it's made that way, and it's sad, and it is hard. Those addictions are hard, but when you think the way you do, or I've never heard you articulate it that way, it does make it. So I'm doing this because I want to be here with my family. Like, you almost look at it like, this is more time I'm going to get with these people that I love. So I think that's incredible.
And if I can add.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the food is delicious.
Yummy.
And more delicious than the stuff we used to eat before we went whole food plant-based, and certainly before we went high raw. So it's not like that's another thing. I mean, I think that's a big, mental hurdle that a lot of people have to get over, is that the food that we're eating is more delicious than the food that I was eating before. One, because it's fresh. Two, because it's from the earth. It's creative. You're using a lot of seasonings and spices that are naturally grown. I just told you we had macaroni and cheese, and I'm telling you that macaroni and cheese tastes better than any Kraft macaroni and cheese we used to eat out of the box,
So good.
years ago. And I don't have to. I didn't have to take a nap. I wasn't tired. I was ready to go.
So we're still eating those things that we love.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a really great point. And just even when you were talking about your knees earlier, I was thinking when we ate a healthy standard American diet, because we never went off. I mean, you weren't seeing us in the Burger King line or anything
Right.
like that. But eating a healthy grilled chicken, hard-boiled eggs, string cheese, low-fat yogurt, those types of things. But it still is the American diet, because it's a lot of dairy. How many dairy things did I just say?
Right.
And you were always rubbing your knees, and
Oh my God! And inflammation and joint pain like you wouldn't believe.
You would talk about how your coach said this is going to catch up to you. He's like, he was right. Nothing. I haven't heard a thing in the past 3 years.
No,
So-
and you're exactly right. So, if I can only see my coach today and let him know, hey, look, I'm fine. I don't need knee replacements. I'm jumping all over the place. I'm running. I'm just as physically active as I was, 20 or 30 years ago. And again, it's because of what we eat, how we take care of ourselves.
So how about, did you see any noticeable skin changes? Because I forgot to talk about complexion and skin changes during my interview, but
Right.
did you see any noticeable skin
I
changes?
have. I mean, I used to have dry skin, especially in the wintertime,
Oh, yeah.
because I shave every day. Very little to no dry skin. I had a little blemish right here under my, right eye. A lot of you probably haven't even noticed, and that's lightened up. And I can remember, I don't know if you remember this, I can remember it was probably 13 years ago. I went to a dermatologist and I said, I have this skin mark, and they froze it off. They froze it off. And it wasn't, it wasn't anything wrong with the mark other than I just didn't want it. It wasn't like
almost like a
precancerous
dark
or anything
spot.
like that. It was just a dark spot. It's almost like an age dark spot. And I wanted to have it froze. So they froze it off, came back in less than 6 months. And I'm thinking, I went through all that and they have this thing frozen off and it came back.
I do remember, because you did it a second time.
Yeah, did it
and
a
you
second
had it
time.
redone.
It had it redone, same thing. The only thing that's helped me with this dark spot is the way I eat. When I went whole food, plant-based, and then also going high raw. So I have just a little tint. And I know that if I continue on this path, it'll go away. And this just my overall complexion is just much more clear. No blotches, the skin dryness, no skin dryness. So it's been amazing.
It's been great from a skin perspective. Yeah, I was just wondering, because you're high raw, you still eat some cooked foods, but you still have those changes in your skin. So I thought
Absolutely.
that was really great. So you talked about your sleep. I asked you that. The skin changes. We talked about weight loss. And then you talked about the mental model, and I thought that was really, really important, because you do get a mental model. Well, I think I want to try this, but I don't know about eating cold food. Just try to get past that mental model and start eating the food and nourishing your body.
Right.
And see how you feel. And then the mental model goes away, I think.
Exactly.
But I think that is a lot of people that write into us and stuff it's sort of, you can't help it, because our brains really control us.
It does. It does. And as soon as you hear raw, just that term raw, it just brings up a lot of mental models that people can't get beyond.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you if you had any suggestions for others around overcoming the mental model, but you gave those suggestions, so thank you. And did you jump right into having just one meal a day cooked and the rest raw? Did you jump right into that, or was it kind of gradual?
It evolved. But it evolved pretty quickly. So I'm going to say it was a hybrid between evolve, jump.
I love it.
And the reason why I say that is because I kind of what I just said earlier, because I didn't need any type of rice or any type of warm side dish with our meals for dinner. I was drinking my green smoothies. I converted to my green smoothies in the morning. Then I was drinking my juices in between, my breakfast and my lunch. And then my lunch was typically warm, and I would come home. Then I would eat a raw dinner. So basically, if you think about that, you're raw in the morning, you're drinking your juice, that's raw. You're having a warm meal for lunch. Sometimes I would just have a salad. Like I said before, I would have a lot of salads with a lot of different options to it. And then I would come home and eat a raw meal. And then at night, if I had my fresh cut fries, potatoes, I would have those. And if I didn't, basically you're raw for the whole day. With maybe some fruit in between if you're going to snack on something, or a handful of nuts or something of that nature. So again, all raw. So it was a evolution to jump right into raw, and it just evolved. So again, it was that hybrid between, evolving and jumping right into it. But it's just because of the way we live, because of the way our life is, and just because of the way I support and we support one another.
Absolutely. I think for the viewers that eat whole food plant-based today and really feel good about not eating processed food, if you really think about how much raw food you eat, you probably are high raw. If you think about it, the types of raw foods that you eat, and or somewhat raw or half raw. If you really have that whole food plant-based lifestyle, I think you go into that. I know for the first couple of weeks, honey, you continued to have your bread, because you did have, not in a bad way, but a slice or two of bread a day with some kind of, whole food plant-based tuna fish or something like that. And then as you just started to ask more questions, because Terry's very inquisitive. Well, is there something wrong with this bread? No, there's nothing wrong with that bread. It's still whole wheat. It's not, but there's sugars like you talked about. And so after a couple of weeks, it was pretty quick. You said, well, I'm going to try not eating this bread. And then you did that for like a week. And I remember you saying, I think my around my midsection is, I'm starting to feel pretty good. I feel less sluggish.
My pants were less tight. Absolutely.
It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to stop eating bread and pasta, or I'm not going to eat anything like that. It wasn't like that. It just kind of happened gradual, and then you started to see the effects from it.
Yep,
so.
absolutely.
But again, I'm still a big advocate for whole grain, so please don't take us wrong, all right, good. That was awesome. And then I think, would you do anything differently today than you did in your first 90 days? Would you do anything different?
Yeah, the only thing I would do different is I would have went high raw sooner.
Oh.
Seriously, I would have went high raw sooner. So like Angel said, having that bread at sometimes when we were eating our, whether she had made pasta with zucchini noodles or things of that nature, or chili, again, raw, so on and so forth, and having some sort of bread and or rice, I would have done it sooner. I would have taken away the bread and the pasta sooner, because I would have realized the awesome effects quicker. So that's the only thing. So that's not a bad thing, but that's something I would have done. I would have done it sooner, because again, as Angel mentioned, when I stopped eating the bread and I stopped eating the pasta, it was pretty noticeable within a week that my pants were looser around the waist. I felt better physically overall.
It seemed effortless, right?
Yeah.
You were still eating a lot. You have to eat a lot. You still have to eat a lot.
Exactly. And I'm burning a lot of calories too, because I'm working out. But yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
That's awesome. So, do you have any advice for listeners that have different diets than the people they live with?
Yeah, so you have to create your own support network and your own support group, and you may not have that support while you're at home, and you're trying to support those individuals that are at home with you, your family, and loved ones, and hopefully the same type of support you show them will be the same type of support that they show you. But you have such a huge
Yep.
support outside of your immediate family, with our show and Chef AJ, the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show. I mean, there's just so many different media outlets and shows that you can go to get your support.
Inspiration.
And inspiration, absolutely. But more importantly than that, again, I just think you have to think about, you're doing this for you first. You're doing this for you first. I mentioned before, you're doing it so you can spend more time with your family and your loved ones. You are. But the first person and the most important person is you. So make an investment in yourself. Make an investment in you first so that you can then go out and help your friends and your loved ones that live healthier and happier lives,
awesome.
just like we have. And I'm not saying it's easy. It can be hard. It can be challenging. But you have the access to so many different, like I said, media outlets, information, books, just doctors and so on and so forth, that you can educate yourself. And I would think about it this way. Each time you're getting bits and pieces of information that's helping you get healthier and helping you become stronger mentally and physically, that's helping you build your support network. And that's helping you get beyond some of those hurdles and some of those frustrations you may be feeling trying to go through this journey.
That's awesome, honey. Thank you. That's amazing advice. Thank you.
Thanks, honey.
So let me see. I thought I had something else for you. Any advice? Diet? And I guess the last thing is, has this been, I think you probably answered it, but has this been a sacrifice for you? Do you feel like you're sacrificing or giving something up or missing something? Even if you are like talking about Terry's mental model, even if you're talking about, I'm doing this for my health, I'm going to live longer, put all that aside. And do you feel like you are making sacrifices? Are you hungry? Are you craving things? I mean, I think that's important for people to know, truthfully.
No, absolutely. And I talked about it, and I'll kind of summarize it, what I talked about. I said, so you are, one of the reasons why I didn't eat the rice, one of the reasons why I didn't eat anything extra was that the food was filling. So that wasn't a sacrifice. One, because the food is filling. Number two, I talked about the taste. You're not sacrificing taste because the taste is all there through the flavors and through the different varieties of foods.
And it's shocking.
Absolutely.
When we first started, anyway.
You actually, if you think about all the different, chefs and different people that you have that are whole food, plant-based or raw, and the different recipes that they share online, you have more options with those different recipes and the different ways you can eat than you have in any restaurant anywhere else. It's incredible. Most families usually only eat 6 or 7 meals within their entire life. They rotate 6 or 7 meals. What are we having on Monday? What are we having on Tuesday? It's usually the same things families eat day in and day out. So if you think about what we eat, we're rotating, hundreds of recipes, new recipes, trying new things. So so that's not a sacrifice because you're always trying new stuff and you're always, inventing things. The health benefits were just incredible, and I think I kind of talked about that. So that's certainly not a sacrifice. The mental clarity, and just awareness, it's just, I've taken it to a new level. Again, that's not a sacrifice. So, I think I kind of touched on it and I tried to summarize everything, but it was certainly not a sacrifice. Not in any way.
And I would say for you, like it would be hard for you to say my mood is better because, honest to God, Terry is just all the same all the time, the same happy person, jovial, kind, sweet.
Thanks, honey.
24/7. Anybody that knows Terry knows that to be the truth. So it'd be hard for him, but it does change your mood if you're feeling depressed or stressed or the types of things that I, felt. It does change your mood. It's not perfect every day. You're not like, oh, I eat raw and I'm walking on sunshine every day. No, we have the ebbs and flows of life, right?
Right.
Let's just keep it real. But it does make a difference, and it makes you a happier person, or just want to be kind. And when people aren't kind or they're unhappy, it doesn't bother you as much. So I think it would be hard for you to talk to that, honey, because you do carry yourself and just live your life that way, and you always have. So I think it's an important point to make.
Oh, thanks, babe. No, you're exactly right. So thanks, babe.
So, those are the questions I had for Terry. Hopefully that answers your question. It's been great. The moral, right at the end of the day, honey, eat a whole food, plant-based lifestyle, or eat a raw lifestyle, or mix them both together. It's an amazing way, incredible way to live your life and get the quality of life that you deserve. You deserve
absolutely
quality of life.
Absolutely. And if you can extend your life for your loved ones, for your family, for the people you want to be around, and if you can be here any longer that you can do those things.
There's no piece of cake that, it's just not. We can have cake.
Exactly.
Even raw cake.
Exactly.
It's good.
Exactly.
So we can have
You're right. Anything that you can have cooked, or on a standard American diet, you can have whole food, plant-based. You can certainly have it raw. So hopefully this interview has been beneficial and informative for a lot of you.
It has for me. I learned some new things too, so I thought it was great, honey. Thank you for being so open and honest and transparent. It means a lot. It's not easy to sit here and say all this stuff for the world to hear, but your willingness to give and try to help others is awesome. So thank you.
Thank you, honey. Thank you. That means so much. And I hope if you have any additional questions, please. Send us a message, and we've got a lot of different messages and notes. So we're very sure to respond and be responsive to everyone's questions and different things that you may want to know. So if you have any questions, if you have any additional information you want to know about my 90-day high raw journey, please feel free to send us a note, and we will make sure we answer. So hopefully you enjoyed the show. If you like the show, like the show.
Yep.
If you like us,
subscribe.
So
we're doing all this for them, for you.
Exactly. We're doing it all for you.
We help one couple people or whatever we do. It's incredible feeling.
Absolutely. So we love you guys, and we can't wait to see you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.